like I said earlier, if I had given up, I wouldn't be here today. Like, I don't know what I would be doing. But this was my dream, since I was a kid, and I always knew that no matter what kept me down, I was going to work hard, But working hard was not just like the things that people do that they think is working hard, It's like you have to do a lot of mental prep as well. And you need to speak to people. I think that's the biggest thing, and learn from other people. I think that's also another thing that we can go into is that number one is perseverance. Definitely, I've kept that with me. But the second thing is also that I'm always open to learn. I've always been like that. I've felt like I don't know anything. I actually don't like knowing anything in my head. If you know what I mean by that, like
Yes, yes.
I'm all ears. My mind is always open for new suggestions, and
Hello and welcome to another episode of Stumped, a podcast designed to allow me to waste the time of people who have better things to do than sit around and chat cricket. And today with me is Matthew de Villiers. Matthew, thank you for joining me, man.
no worries. No, thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic. The other day, I saw you smash the ball around. Very good T20. You just told me off air that it was your debut. You you have developed this thing of just coming in and making an impact
Yeah, definitely.
in the higher format.
Yeah, I don't know. You just carry on working hard in whatever sort of aspect you find yourself in. I didn't play. I played one white ball game last year for the Warriors. So this one is my debut for the T20s, and I just don't really think about it too much. I sort of just play my game, which is nice. We've got a squad now at the moment where we've signed pretty well, and which means that each person's sort of able to play their own game. So there's no need for you to play or bat like someone that you're not, or try and bowl like someone that you're not. The Warriors have signed this year that if we need something for that game, we'll get that, and that's exactly the environment we're trying to create. Is just be yourself. So that's sort of what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just playing my game, and luckily it's pulling off.
And I quite liked it because I watched it and I saw you know, you guys were in trouble for a bit there, and then you had that cool partnership with CJ. But it also helps to show everyone else because when you burst through the scene last year, you dominated the Red Bull side. And so I think a lot of people must have thought, well, Matthew is very Red Bull. He's more suited for that. But you showing this other side was quite brilliant.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did think that. To be fair, was that I was just a Red Bull player, but luckily that's just where I fitted in last year. That's where they needed me. So that's where I put my foot forward, and they didn't need me in the white ball stuff obviously last year. So I had to step back and work hard from the team from off of the field, and luckily I get my shot now. Obviously, I have played lots of T20s and stuff, just not at this level, and one day cricket obviously just not at this level. So it's very nice. I had a chat to Matthew Brzezinski the other day, and he just asked me what are my thoughts on T20s and stuff, because I haven't played at the domestic level yet. I just sort of gave a similar answer of that I would love to prove myself, and just to see not even prove myself, just like sort of see how it is, because I've done well at the lower levels club and whatever, playing T20s and amateur and Colts level, done well there. So it was actually nice. I told him it would be nice to see how I could do against the top players in the country, So luckily I'm getting that shot now. But like I said, I'm just being myself, playing my own game, not thinking about it, too much.
While we will come back to the present, but I want to go back because your story is one of my favorite stories that I've written about in the past, I don't know, 2 3 years. And you haven't had an easy road. It's been quite bumpy, if I can put it that way. And let's go to where it started. How did cricket begin for you?
Yeah, pretty much from a very young age. Obviously, started as soon as I could pick up a ball or a bat. I was always playing backyard cricket with my mates. My dad was always, whenever he had time, he'd always throw balls to me in the backyard, put some tape on one side, mess around a bit, get a tennis racket, hit the tennis ball at me whilst I was batting. It started at a young age. And then it just sort of grew for me. I was at a primary school that was not very big on sport. Kirstenhof Primary School in Takai. So I never really used to play against a lot of the big boys schools, boy junior schools. It was a co-ed school. So luckily I was almost like the standout sportsman there, because it wasn't too difficult to do so. There wasn't a lot of sportsmen at that school, and we didn't play against, great opposition. So for me, it was just taking it from the backyard cricket onto the field was pretty easy. And then I played rugby. I swam. I did cross country. I played tennis. I did a lot of different sports, but cricket always sort of stuck with me. And then going forward from there, went to Waimu Boys High School. Was very privileged to get a scholarship to Waimu Boys, and I was originally a seam bowler, apparently, according to my under 14A coach. So that's sort of where it started. Was just people trying to put me in a journey that I thought that wasn't my journey. I felt like I was being forced to do stuff that I wasn't happy about. But I still took that. I think the biggest part about that whole thing was like, okay, you're gonna put me in as a bowler, you're gonna bat me at 11. That's okay. I'm just gonna prove you wrong. I'm sort of I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna work his way up to batting in the top 5 or top 4. So yeah, I started my high school career batting at number 11. I used to go to Friday nets with Jaco Stoffberg, who used to throw to me, and I trained every Friday, non-stop for the whole year round. And luckily I got my shot one game. We were like 9 down or something. I got 11, and then I pushed myself up the batting order, and then I was a batting at number 9, then I got a 20 not out, and then I pushed myself up to number 8, and then I got a 50 not out, and then batting at number 7 or whatever, I got back-to-back hundreds when we were in a very bad position. So I think that just goes to the perseverance. Like, I think I would have been knocked down early on if I just gave up. I don't know where I would be now if I just gave up. I carried on pushing. I carried on training hard. I knew where I wanted to be. I knew what my skill was. And then from there I played first team at Weinberg from an early age. Also like batting at 8, so not really getting an opportunity up the order. I was apparently a very reliable batsman when we were in trouble. So he always used to bat me at 8, because if they were 40 for 6, he knew that I could get them out of trouble. So he never pushed me up the order, because he was too scared that if he lost me, then we would lose all our wickets. So I was almost Mr. Reliable for a while. And like I said, it was the same attitude I had. I was like, okay, that's fine. you're going to bat me at 7 or 8, which is like all the guys who are getting picked for Coke Week and stuff are, you're not batting at 7 or 8 as a batsman in first team cricket. You're batting in the top 5 at least. So it was like tough for me because it was like I can't really make the province side because I'm being put in a position where I'm not able to score big hundreds and stuff like that. I can only score 60, 70 not out, and then the innings is done. So, but that just kept going. I kept going, I kept pushing, and then luckily I was made captain at my matric year at Wami Boys, which was another privilege as well. And I, from there, I never got picked for the Coke Week as well. I played under 19B for Western Province, which was also another setback. So throughout my whole high school career, it was very like I felt like I was doing well, but I wasn't really getting reward outside. But I was never really too fussed about it. I loved playing my cricket. I enjoyed it, no matter if I get satisfaction from other people or if I get recognition or not. I just enjoyed playing the game. So yeah, once again, I felt like I did well in matric to earn a Coke Week spot, but unfortunately I missed out under 19B. And if you want me to carry on going, I can carry on. I can go all the way to. There's a long story, but if I'm going to try and make it quick, short, went over to play some club cricket in the UK. That was a great experience. Came back to Cape Town, played club cricket, still enjoying it, still doing well, still getting no recognition. Then finally got a bit of like Western Province, a taste of Western Province. They played me in the cold side. For my first year, I averaged over 100 with the bat. Western Province still didn't have a look at me. Luckily, I kept playing my cricket. I kept enjoying it, kept doing well. Didn't worry too much about the outside. And then, Robin Peterson approached me, asking if I wanted to come to the Warriors. I did so. I didn't play for the first 3 months because that was obviously the T20s and stuff. And then he said, "Here's your shot," which I've been waiting for a very long time. It felt surreal being out there in the middle. I'll never forget that day, my debut playing in a franchise for domestic cricket. I will never forget that day. It was something special. I'll remember for a very long time. And then, I took my shot. Got very involved with the team. If I ever had to get dropped in the 4-day stuff, I would always keep my head up, held high, still contribute where I can, be a good person. And then, luckily, then I got another contract, a much better one, to almost say that you'll be playing majority of the games, and that we trust in you to be a good player for the Warriors in years to come, which was lovely to hear. And that's sort of a little bit of my journey from playing backyard cricket to now, being a professional. So yeah.
The perseverance. I remember when I asked Eric Lefson about you back then when I was doing the article. He said the one thing that impressed me about Matthew when he came for trials was the body language. Didn't drop shoulders, didn't look unhappy or dissatisfied with anything. He just had this positive attitude. And for a young man, a teenager actually, to embody that, it has to come from somewhere. Where do you think your outlook came from?
It's a good question. I think my family's helped me a lot along the way. My uncle's obviously quite an influential character to me. Peter Stradon, that is. And, he's obviously played professional cricket. He played for the Warriors. He's played for South Africa. So I've always sort of looked up to him. he's always led me in a good path in a way. Like whether it's small things, we always went on holiday when we were young. Twice a year, I'd see them. So I wouldn't see them very often. That side of the family, we have quite a big family, and all different personalities, and all offering different things to the table. And yeah, my mom was sort of the same as well. My mom always, growing up in a household where there might have been a bit of friction with a couple of things, my mother was always good with handling bad times. And I think I sort of took that to heart quite a bit, and I learned from that, So if we'd went through a bad patch as a family when I was young, my mother would always see the positive side, and she would always try to find a solution the right way. And I think that's what also helped me as a youngster, was that I felt like whenever there was a tough time, I didn't even think about my mom, but because that's the way she was, I naturally became that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was, I think the biggest thing for me was having an amazing family around me. I think that was the biggest thing, because as a kid, you don't really know much at the end of the day, So I was very privileged to have an unbelievable support system, and still do, in my people like my mother, my sister, my uncle, even my granny. There's that you feel the love as well nowadays. But I think back then it's very important to how I grew up was how they raised me. I think I'm incredibly privileged.
You you brought your mom to tears, I think, at some point. And I'm talking about when Weinberg reached out to say, yes, we're going to give Matthew a scholarship. And can you take me back? Because it's a story that I tried to tell it in the article, but I don't think I did it justice because I didn't experience it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was basically we weren't in a great financial position at that time when I was about 12, 13 years old. And obviously I'd been doing pretty well in my sports, decently in my academics. I was pretty culturally involved with the school. So, we were just as a high school, you would hope for a kid that is involved in the school and stuff. And I never really tried. It was just I loved doing all of those things, and financially we weren't in a great position. And luckily, yeah, no, I came out of school the one day, and I don't know which high school I was going to because of the financial position. And we'd had a couple of options, but obviously, Weinberg, Rondebosch, Bishops, and Sachs, the schools that I was probably thinking of going to just because of sports-wise in Western Cape, they were all pretty pricey. And luckily I came home from primary school the one day, got in my mom's car, and she was full of tears. And I was like, "What's going on, Mom? What's happening?" And she was through her tears. Those when she's trying to speak through tears, it can be very hard. She didn't say anything. She just handed me the piece of, or the I think it might have been on her phone. She had the email or whatever it might have been, and I read it, and it was like, Weinberg would like to offer your son Matthew de Villiers a scholarship. So yeah, that was also an amazing day, because I just felt like I'm definitely a mother's boy, so I think that she deserves a lot of relief as well. And it was so nice for me that I could add that bit of less financial stress in her life. So it was a great feeling for her, but it was also a very nice day for me as well, which I also, as you can see, I will never forget that day as well. So yeah.
And when you look at that step going to Weinberg. And yes, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. You were betting down the order. I think Eric Lefson said we were interested in his bowling much more than anything else. But when you look at it, when you look at that journey, that part of the journey, what are some of the lessons that you feel you learned from being at Weinberg that you have carried into your professional career now?
I think, you touched on it earlier. The biggest thing is just perseverance and like never giving up. I think that will do you well in wherever you go. I think, like I said earlier, if I had given up, I wouldn't be here today. Like, I don't know what I would be doing. But this was my dream, since I was a kid. And I always knew that no matter what kept me down, I was going to work hard, but working hard was not just like the things that people do that they think is working hard, it's like you have to do a lot of like mental prep as well. And you need to speak to people. I think that's the biggest thing, and learn from other people. I think that's also another thing that we can go into is that number one is perseverance. Definitely, I've kept that with me. But the second thing is also that I'm always open to learn. I've always been like that. I've felt like I don't know anything. I actually don't like knowing anything in my head. If you know what I mean by that, like
Yes, yes.
I'm all ears. My mind is always open for new suggestions, and I think that's also the biggest thing, because you can take a lot of, especially you have sometimes like 6 different coaches telling you what to do, especially when you're like traveling or you're doing different things. You say you go to England for a bit. If you go play like a franchise T20 overseas, you've got so many different coaches telling you different things, but the key is to almost take what you think will help you as well. I think you're hearing a lot of different things. So I'm always listening, but I might not always take that information in and apply it to my game, because I don't think that it's applicable to me, So I think the things that I've taken throughout my career is like never giving up, and always being open to new ideas. I think that's the biggest thing, because as soon as you think you know it all, your mind is blocked, and then you can't. There's no going. You can't go further than that, But if you have an open mind and you're always willing to learn, then the world is your oyster. So yeah, those 2 things I've definitely taken with me throughout my career.
There is what I call the macro story. That's how I have it on my notes when I was doing a bit of prep before this chat. Again, like the moment you got the news from Weinberg, it's also for me as a person looking from the outside, trying to learn more about you. When I think of that episode in your life, I feel it tells me a lot more about you as an individual, like where you come from, who you are. There's all sorts of things that I associate that story with. Do you mind sharing it again?
So which part are you speaking about now?
When you wanted to get a Nintendo.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was just, I mean, to make it to summarize it, pretty much like I got pocket money through my gran. I mean, back then it wasn't a lot. It was like R5 a week or something like that. It was a very small amount, and I'd saved up through birthdays for like so many years. And yeah, we went to the we went to Macro to buy an Xbox for my saved up money and all of that. And no, I just remember seeing Jacques Callis on the screens, because in Macro they have, like, when they sell TVs, they've got, they got like, I don't know, 30 different TVs that are like, maxed out big time. And no, I just remember seeing Jacques Callis when we were going to go buy the Xbox. I remember seeing Jacques Callis like on the big screen, and he was on his way to his double hundred. I honestly can't remember who it was against or where it was. It must have been in South Africa, but he was on his way to his double hundred basically. And I just remember, like, it was a clear memory for me, like looking at him like on the screen as a youngster and just being like, gee, like, I want to do that, because at that stage, we were like really financially struggling. And I was like, I just want one thing. I just want to get the Xbox and I want to like get out, like I'm not too worried about anything else. And I just remember looking at the screen and seeing Jacques Callis, and I was just like, yeah, it would be amazing to like be there and do that and just be a professional and do what you love and like strive towards that. Because I looked at him and I was like, I actually love that. I love looking at that, and that's something that I want to like strive towards. But yeah, that's pretty much the macro story.
No, I love it. For me, it says a lot. Youngster transfixed on the telly, just can't move, forgets about this thing you've been saving for years, and you're like fixated on the cricket.
Yeah.
It's brilliant for me. One of the people, yeah, we touched on the guys like Lefson from Weinberg and stuff, but one of the people whom I also got in touch with back when I wrote the story was Richard Pybus, because he played a part. As you said, you're always learning, you're always listening for stuff on ways to improve yourself. How much did he help when you were playing club cricket for Claremont and you bumped into him and you had conversations?
Yeah, it was very quick conversations. I knew he'd been around the world coaching. He had a lot of experience. He knows the game as well. So I played against him. Obviously, he was the head coach at the University of the Western Cape at that time when we were playing against them. So we played against him a couple of times. We crossed paths a few times. And then there was just one game where I just went up to him and I just said, listen, like, I did pretty well against UWC for a few years. So he obviously knew, who I was as a cricketer, and he's been watching me. So I felt like it was good just to like see where his thoughts were in my game. I just went to him and was like, listen, can we, go for a coffee or something? I just want to chat and just see like what your perspective is on it, like if I must move on from the game, or because I think at that time I was doing a bit of studies, marketing, and I was coaching cricket. So I was in a weird spot where I was just trying to elevate myself as a human being. Like, where am I going here? Because if I'm going to be chasing this cricket dream for a long time, I'm going to be eating 2-minute noodles for a long time as well. So I sort of had to make a move at that stage, and I just went to him and said, listen, can we go for a coffee? So we ended up going for a coffee, and I was just listening to what he has to say about couple of different things, about how the system is, how the South African cricketing system is, and how contracts work, and what you have to do. And if I think the biggest thing that he said to me was that I actually took out of that conversation was you have to see it to believe it, were his words. And what he meant by that was he meant that, like, you have to see yourself wherever you are in life, whatever it is, if I wanted to be a chef, for example, you have to see yourself in that chef outfit doing what you want to do and then chase what you see. So he said, like, for example, if you want to play for South Africa, you have to see yourself playing for South Africa and not just pushing towards a goal that is not there, which made complete sense to me, because then I was like, oh my word, okay. Now I can, like, you got to visualize your goals as well. You got to visualize it and almost plant it in your head, and then every single time you feel like you're feeling lazy or you don't want to do something, just visualize that goal and then go do it. That's what he gave to me, basically, was that. And then other than that, he he contacted a few CEOs as well to try and get me a contract somewhere, because he's obviously well connected. But it just seemed like no one was really biting, so he ended up just coming back to me and just being like, listen, he's tried. I didn't really want that out of him, to be fair, even though he did it out of the kindness of his heart, to try and find me a gig, whether it was at the Dolphins, the Titans. Yeah, I didn't really ask much from him, but to be fair, he just did it out the kindness of his heart, and then all I really wanted from him was just a bit of guidance, really, just like, what do I do now, And he just said, if you see yourself playing for New Zealand, then you must go move to New Zealand, and go do it there. Because if you don't see yourself doing something, then you are working towards a goal that's not real, basically, So, yeah, that's basically what I took from Richard Pybus.
You spent time on the England club scene. I think you played for Oakmere and Longridge. How were those stints abroad for you, and how do you feel they helped you develop your game?
Yeah, they played a vital role as well. Just getting away from what I think, into an environment that's quite uncomfortable. New people, new environment, new culture, new type of weather. Like, it just gets you out of your normal routine, and at the same time you're playing cricket as well. I think for me, when I left the first year, I was still quite, like, naive, and I didn't really know much about myself. Just coming out of high school, you sort of stuck to the books and stuff. So getting out and, like, seeing the real world, coming back from, I really struggled that year. I really struggled being away from home and being away from family. Like, I remember, like, an aeroplane flying over. It was like I might have been 3 months in or something, and an airplane flew over, and I was out in the garden. I remember looking at that airplane, and I was like, I just, please take me home. Like, I just want to just go home now. Like, I don't like it here, But that perseverance for me, stuck through. I had 2 more months to go with the club that I, obviously committed to. So I said, no, I'm going to do it. I know I'm struggling, but I'm going to push through. And I came home like a 10 times better man. I knew how to change a tire after that. I knew how to wash the dishes and do the dish, all of that stuff, wash my own laundry, cook, all of those things that you don't do when you're in high school, So I got out and experienced it, and I hated it, and I said, I don't ever want to go there again. And then I ended up applying to go there again, because it was just like, it was a challenge for me. And after that, I became very comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I think that's a really good space. I love being uncomfortable, because it challenges me, and I love challenges. I don't really like stuff that come easy. It means a lot more when you work hard for it. So that's basically what I took out of my England club cricket stints was that it's not going to be easy, but you fight through it, and then you come back not just a better player from playing the cricket in the off season, but actually you come back a better person and like a more mature one and much more grown up. So yeah.
It's easy because I can relate, because I tend to have this single-mindedness when I want something. Like I develop tunnel vision and I go after it. That's just how I am wired. But then also I also have moments of extreme frustration, especially when things look like they are taking a bit too long. So I was saying, it's easy to persevere, to tell yourself to persevere, but how did you deal with the moments of frustration when you are at club cricket? You're pushing, you are scoring more runs than anyone else, but the break is not coming. You just keep striving, but it's not happening for you. How did you deal with those moments where you felt frustrated?
I basically just found the small things in my life that I'm grateful for and that I enjoy. Honestly, that's like the medicine. Is it's like just outside my cricket, I flipping loved my cricket and I just wanted to play it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to play at the highest level and do it all the time. But when it wasn't going my way, I mean, obviously you get frustrated, but I woke up, the sun was out, and I'm living in Cape Town, got a roof over my head. I'm able to now I'm able to go out for breakfast and see my friends, and then I got to work later. The fact that I'm able to work is another privilege. So I just enjoyed my life. I worked hard. I was studying and I was coaching cricket at the Cricket School of Excellence, Ryan Marin, and whilst I was doing that, whilst I was earning my money, I was almost like earning my money and like spending it at the same time because I was just like enjoying myself, whether that was going on a boat trip, going on the beach, going to a wine farm with my friends. Like I was working hard, but I was also just enjoying my life, and I think that just narrowed it down to like, I was still focusing on my cricket as well. It wasn't like I didn't work hard on my game. The performances showed because I was working hard, but it's like it didn't control my life. That the cricket took first place, but whatever took second and third and fourth place was still quite important in my life as well. And I needed to understand that. And I got to a stage where that was the case, and I just enjoyed it. And yeah, I think that also made me perform better because I wasn't like stressing all the time so much about my cricket. I was working hard, but then when I needed my mind to take off of the game, I had other things that I was grateful for, and I don't know, I was happy and I was enjoying my life, and that led to me performing on the field as well.
Has your mom been to one of your matches for the Warriors?
Oh no, definitely. Yeah. She's a top class woman. She'll support me from anywhere. She gets a bit nervous though sometimes. Uh, Sometimes she doesn't want to watch because obviously she's still in Cape Town. But yeah, no, she's been to a couple of my games. If she's not at them, it's on her TV on YouTube or on SuperSport. Like she's glued in. She's an amazing supporter of mine, and she's always sending me messages. It doesn't have to be a long one. It's just well done, I love you, or whatever. Yeah, no, but she's a one of my number one supporters.
One of the things about cricket is that it's so expensive, man. It's
Mm.
Ooh. And so when you look back, when I look back at your journey, I realized, there were certain moments where the finances were not readily available, as it were, because they were needed in so many directions, and yet you also needed kit. And how did you navigate that? Because cricket kit is so expensive. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Mm. Luckily, I think the biggest thing as well is like knowing people and just being kind to people, because you never know where that could end up. And as a little, like I was, as a little kid, there's not really much you can do to get to know people. But
Mm-hmm.
I think because I was such a lively and like kind kid to other people's kids as well, and I was always welcoming. I would always share. I would always, I was just that kid who was just like bubbly and just wanted to be around people and stuff. And luckily, one of the kids' dads owned a bat company called Black Widow. I don't know if you've ever heard of Black Widow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one of the kids' dads knew him, and yeah, they offered me to give me some kit. It wasn't like anything special, but it was a lot more than I needed at that stage. So yeah, I think that was the thing, was like as a kid I was never mean to any other kids. Obviously you have those few kids who are like not bullies, but like it's much worse in America. But I think like just like small things. I would never aim to hurt any kid. I was always willing. If I had two sandwiches, I would give one whole sandwich to another kid if that means that he needed that sandwich. And I think that helped me as a little kid, because then that ended up, it came back to me, because then I got free kits. You see, so the one sandwich that you give away can actually give you free cricket kit down the line. So I think it's always just being kind to whoever crosses your path. Yeah.
When I spoke to you, I do not think the double hundred had properly set in for you. You had just scored your double for the Warriors. I don't think at that time, yes, you might have thought, yeah, I've come to terms with it. But I think now, so many months later, you have had time to really think about it. How big was that moment for you?
Yeah, it still hasn't set in. No, I'm joking. It was a huge moment, of course, but it's in the past for me now. I just, the way that I am, it's like I focus in the moment. I do well. If I score triple hundred, I'll celebrate it for a week, and then I just move on. I'm always looking to do better and carry on getting better. I think you don't want to be too stuck in the past. Too stuck in like, oh my word, like I did that last year, or I did that at the beginning of the year. Like, I think it's just like, what can I do? How can I do that again? How can I do better? How can I improve? I'm always looking for that, and I will always appreciate what I did well, but I don't really look at it too much. I'm always looking to the future. How can I just be the best player that I possibly can be? So, yeah, I don't really think about it that much, if I'm honest.
I think, if I'm correct, excuse me, Robbie P might have seen you for the first time preseason SA20 against, one of those practice matches that my Cape Town would play. Am I wrong to think that, because there's something about that in the back of my mind, that you played in one of those games? I'm not sure how well you did.
No, that's right. It was in my Cape Town little trial game, not a trial game, a warm-up game for them. They were just playing against the Western Province Colts, and at that time I was in quite good form with the bat. And yeah, I got like, I can't remember what I got. It would have been like 30 or something, but it was off like 12 or 13 balls or whatever it was, and it was obviously against their bowlers. So, he was obviously quite impressed, and that obviously planted a seed in his mind, so that if he ever heard my name again, then he knew what I could do. So I think performing wherever you are, you never know who's watching, So no matter what level of cricket it is, you don't really know who's watching. So that was just like a hit out. They played against us. I hit a few runs, a couple of good shots. He was impressed. Didn't sign me right away, but then he heard my name a few months later, 4 months, 5 months later, like this kid can play. And then he was like, gave me a call. So yeah.
Right now at the Warriors, whom who are your three favorite batting partners?
My three favorite batting partners would probably be Jordan Hammer, number one, because he's always like, I like calming him down. He's always like in the game. Calming him down like just sort of settles me as well. Number two, I'd probably say Patrick Kruger. Just because he's like very level-headed as well. He's quite experienced. He's seen the game. So he gives me a good feeling when I'm out in the middle, and he's always giving me confidence as well, which you need as a batsman. So yeah, number two, I'd say Patrick Kruger, and then the third one, probably JP King, I would say. Yeah, he's just more chilled. He's not ready. So it's all three different types of batters or batting partners. JP's very chilled. He doesn't think about it too much. He just does the basics well. He executes his shots very well as well. So, yeah, those are my three, I would say, my three favorite.
The other day, someone told me that, the domestic circuit has quite a few good bowlers, and it's difficult to single out any. But I would like you to tell me three bowlers whom you feel, who, when they are on song, they really make your life difficult.
You say three.
Mm.
Sheepers. I'm gonna put out the Janssen brothers just as a whole. Just because I like they're pretty similar bowlers. Marco obviously knows where the ball's going a little bit better, but I'd say the Janssen brothers just because of their height, it makes it very difficult, and they can swing the ball. They've got good skills, so I'd say them as one. Cheapers. Another one, Sean van Berg. He's up there because he's just so experienced, and as a leg spinner, he really doesn't miss at all. He puts it in one spot. He's very consistent. He's got a lot of good variations, and he just misses a lot less than the other bowlers. And another one, underrated, probably I'd say Carl Simmons from Western Province. I say he's quite underrated. I think he's quite a good spinner. I think if he sorts out like a couple of things with his mental game, I think he'll be a very, very good bowler, because I think he's got a good potential to be very good. He's just, I think, as a spin bowler, you gotta know that you're gonna get hit for boundaries. I think when he gets hit for boundaries, he tries too many things, tries to think too much. But I mean, I think he's got me out twice now, and I think he knows that as well. So yeah, he's also up there as well, for sure.
And now you've walked the longer part of the road. What's left now is maintenance and one or two other steps to go. What are the plans for the future?
So I quite enjoy Port Elizabeth, actually. I think Port Elizabeth, for me here at the Warriors, I feel very like I'm valued here, and I also work pretty hard here. It's a good environment for me to work hard, because I've got things, if I want to go outside of my cricket, I've got things like golf, I've got paddle, I've got good friends here as well, I've got the beach. So I've got those things which you actually need in order to succeed. I feel is the things that make you happy outside of cricket, as we spoke about earlier. And going forward, I think I'd probably like to stay here for a bit. Just because I work hard here, I know that I've got those things, and I've got a good gym to go to. The facilities here are good to train. Robin Peterson, I think, is one of the best coaches in the world. So I've got those things, at my, that I have access to, and I think just to carry on doing what I'm doing, really, stay humble going forward, no matter what comes my way. I still got a lot of things I need to work on my game, like a hell of a lot, and I'm really excited because, there's lots of room for improvement for me, and going forward, I'd obviously love to play for the Proteas or SAA. I know that's the step, which I don't think I'm far away from. I just need to carry on doing me. Keep it simple, keep improving on the small little parts of my game, and keep evolving. Carry on working hard, still never giving up. That is the future for me. I don't create goals like I want to play. Like I'm gonna write in my diary. I want to play for South Africa A, or the next step is I want to play for the Proteas. Like no, the next step is where can I improve my game, and that's for me. I think the rest will take care of itself. The results will show if you just like forget about the white noise and just like what can you do better. How can I get 1% better every day? Type of thing. So the next step for me is personally I just want to be the best batter at the Warriors. Full stop. So then the rest will take care of itself, I guess. Yeah.
One of my favorite questions is always shirt numbers, because for some people there's a story. For some, well, it's just a number. But what is it about yours? How did you land on it?
How did I land on what?
Your shirt number.
My shirt number. So 7's my lucky number. And 30. So my number is 17. 7 is my lucky number, and 30 is the number I was going to take if I couldn't get 7. And obviously, I come into the Warriors, and 7 was taken, and 30 was taken. And I said, well, geez, I might as well go for 17 here. There's only the other number. There's only one more number that I'm left with here. And I asked if 17 was taken. They said no, and I said, boom, I'm going to go for it then until I feel like I find. Obviously, that's Matthew de Villiers' number, so I get a lot of stick for that. Trust me, I get basically every single game I play. I'm like the wrong A or the wrong AB or living up to the wrong expectations or something like that. So I don't mind it. It almost drives me just to be better as well. But until I feel like I've found my number that's not 7 or 30 or 17, the time will be right and I'll switch it and then I'll stick with that for the rest of my time. But I think I'm pretty much floating on number 17 at the moment.
Yeah, I can see how it can open you up for a bit of chirping there. But
huge. Yeah.
But why 30? 7 you said is your lucky number. Yes, you're wearing 17, but what is it about 30 that stands out for you?
I think my uncle played with 30 when he was playing for South Africa, or the Warriors, or Border at the time. I just asked him what his number was, and he said 30. So I was like, okay, well, lucky number. Either my uncle played with the number, or I'm going 17. Those are the three numbers, and 17 ended up being the one. So yeah.
And what are some of the things? Because I remember you spoke highly when I spoke with you, highly of Jordan Herman. Amazing talent, quite Very few are talented like him. But you are in close contact with him a lot. What are some of the things that you have learned from him that have helped push your game forward?
What I've learned from him, he's. I think the biggest thing, if I want to summarize it, is the biggest thing I've learned from him is hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. That's the biggest thing because he's got a whole lot of talent and he works very hard as well. So I think that just shows like where he is now is that he works hard. You know, he's got an extreme amount of talent. I mean, some of the shots he plays is like incredible. That only kids get born with those types of shots. You know, you don't go to a bowling machine and like hit thousands of that shot until you get it right. Like no, that you're born with that shot. You know. But he works hard as well. So he's taught me that saying goes a long way actually. That you can have a lot of talent, but if you don't work hard, it's sort of useless, you know.
Do you still play club cricket?
Yes, I do. I play for Old Grey, and I love it when I do. I love it when I play for them. They're good bunch of guys, good gears, good camaraderie. They're funny as well. So, yeah, whenever it almost seems like during this period, pre-season and going into the season now, it's quite busy. So I don't really find time to play club cricket, but definitely like whenever there's a game available that I'm not playing or if I'm not needed to rest, I'm definitely hitting a couple with the boys on a Saturday for sure.
And as someone who spent quite a bit of time on the club scene, this is a newfound fascination for me. What is one of the worst chirps that you've heard?
So in the club scene, I got to be known as quite a nice guy. Eventually, you know, when I was young, it was like silly chirps that didn't really like silly stuff. But as I got older in the club, they obviously like you chat a lot afterwards. You have beers with the guys afterwards. You get to know them, and I think once they get to know me, I start getting chips pretty soon. But I think the classic one is honestly it's the on field now at franchise cricket when you're coming into a 4-day game, you have a long time to back guys just trying to go into your head, you know, and yeah, coming in as like a debut season last year, I was getting a lot of like you'll never be good enough. Like you're not going to be here for long, basically. Which was the one that actually like hit me hard. I was like, oof, okay, well let me prove you wrong then. So I had a couple of those of like, you know, you basically like this is your first and only year of franchise cricket, like you're not going to make it, you're not going to be here for long, like all of that stuff. So that didn't last long for me though, because this is my second season and I've got a lot more cricket to play. So for whoever said that, shame on you and good luck.
My final question is past and present batters. If you're going to bat with anyone, let's say between 3 and 5, because it's a long time. But between 3 and 5, whom would you like to bat with, past and present, from all the batters that you know, that you've watched, that you've played with, whatever?
Between 3 and 5, what?
Number, like number of
Like
batters, because I can't say one.
yeah.
That's nothing.
Okay, past Matthew de Villiers 100%, just to see how he operates and how well he knows the game and where he hits and scores, definitely. Present batter that I would like to bat with. I'd probably go Joe Root, because he just looks like he's sound and like he's got a plan, and he's one of the best batters in the world at the moment, and just like the way that he goes about it, so elegant, and almost what he thinks, what goes through his mind out in the middle. So past Matthew de Villiers and present Joe Root for sure.
Icons. That's nothing can beat those, I think.
Correct.
Matthew, thank you very much for joining me. I enjoyed my chat with you. I never thought it was possible, but there were times when I was welling up there. But yeah, I always enjoy this. These things, especially when someone shares stuff as you just did.
100%. No, thanks for having me, man. It's always nice. It's always nice chatting a bit, and yeah, just speaking about the game as well. It's always good. So thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.